Yes.
And there's a confirmation of quorum, and looks like everyone is here. So we'll entertain a motion to adjourn to executive session that will not last longer than past 6:30, at which time we'll return. During the executive session, we'll discuss legal, contractual, and personnel matters.
Make a motion to enter executive session to discuss personnel, legal, and
Contractual.
contractual matters.
Thank you. Second, Mr. Frick and Ms. Hartman. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. We will return.
Y'all did win. You know, I'm happy for Clemson. Y'all did good. Yes, of course.
Oh, I get to watch.
We both can't win.
No.
You got that right. Oh, yeah?
We'll entertain a motion to exit executive session during which no action was taken.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we enter back into public session, providing not get second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Miller and Mr. Frick. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye?
Okay, welcome, and we'll start at C. Welcome again to the 2014 January 21st regular call school board meeting.
Have the pledge. Y'all, everyone can stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You know, while you're still standing, take a moment of silence for reflection. Thank you very much.
We'll move to the approval of the agenda. Anyone have any objection to moving forward on the agenda as it is? Hearing none, we'll move to public comment.
I have one, Madam Chair, from Dr. Mason. There she is. Excellent time.
You did just call my name,
We
didn't you?
did. It's your turn.
God works in mysterious ways.
Oh, yeah.
I told my husband to learn. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I have no idea what I came up here for. I'm just kidding. Mr. Green, Ms. Reed, school board members, hello, Ms. McGanny. That's a longtime friend of mine, and several of you are. The reason why I sent in or signed in one of those blue slips is because my heart is filled with the good news that I've been hearing about our school district. So I came to say, I don't believe these people, the school board members who come for nothing, you might as well say. They give up a lot of their time. I don't think any of them have a child in the school district right now.
Grandchild.
A grandchild, that's pretty close, because I tell my children, the only reason I'm glad they were born is because they gave me grandchildren. Listen, my friends, I believe as a community, we owe it to these people to say thank you. We owe it to these people. Mr. Green, I hear nothing but great things about you. And school board members, Ms. Reed, I hear nothing but great things about the function of the board. Mr. Miller, all of you. And everybody in this, well, not everybody, a whole lot of people who kind of knows me. In the supermarket, in the post office, wherever I am. Just the other day, I was at a restaurant having dinner. And two people came over to me and said, Dr. Mason, do you feel, I can't quote them verbatim, but what they said to me was, isn't it wonderful what's happening with our school district? And I said, yes, this person knew about STEM, they knew about Common Core. This was somebody who was almost as educated as I am. Y'all supposed to laugh when I say that. Anyway, I felt so rewarded. As Ms. McDaniel knows, 18 years ago, when I moved back here from California, my heart was, God, since you have gifted me with a lot of knowledge of education, let me use it in a town where I was born. And I was born at a time when there was such a separation of black and white, it was just unimaginable. And here I am. God has let me see the day when our children are achieving, the future looks good, and I'm very pleased, and my cousin up there knows I'm telling the truth, that it is very rewarding to see the school board, the teachers. Miss Willie, I hear nothing but wonderful things about you. All of the administrators here, and it's just heartwarming, and I think you deserve to hear it from somebody that we appreciate what you're doing. God bless you. Please keep it going. And if anything you need me for, just call my name, and I'll be there. Right now, we're celebrating Dr. King, right? Yes. I'm going to be a guest speaker at a church in a couple of weeks to celebrate Dr. King. And the thing I ask myself is this, and I want you to do this, leave here tonight. If he was back here now, are we doing what he would like us to be doing? Are we where he would like us to be? Part of me says yes, but the other part of me says, but we still have work to be done. Do you all agree?
Yes.
We still have progress to be made, but I'm confident that we're on our way. So God bless you folks. Just keep on keeping on.
Thank you.
That was it.
Thank you, Dr. Mason. We'll move to presentations and recognitions.
If I could have Dr. Hardy come up. Very excited about these young folks we'll be recognizing today for winning the Patriots Point, I think it is Patriots Pin Essay. And for those of you who do not know, I am extremely competitive. I don't like to lose in marbles. So I love it when I hear our kids won first, second, third, and fourth place. I mean, so I give Dr. Hardy a pat on the back, because if we didn't, I'd be upset. Okay, so I'll let her take it from here.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Green. I want to call forth in reverse order. Our fourth award winner is Dylan Pullen.
And Kevin, I want you to see Dylan have on a nice black bow tie. Make sure you get a picture of that. Right? Get a picture of that. All right.
Our third place winner and recipient of a $25 check is Jonathan Edenfield.
Brought the money down.
Where's the
recipient of a $25 check is Mr. Gerald Mills. And our first place recipient with big money of $50 is Letitia Johnson.
Oh, yeah. Good job. Next, it gives us great pleasure to recognize our board members. As you know, it is Board Recognition Month. And, you know, very often people ask me about my experience in Fairfield County and how the board is treating me. And I tell them that they were treating me any better, I get nervous. Just how good they treat me. And it has been a pleasure working with the board of Fairfield County. And so, you know, we get an opportunity to thank them for the job that they are doing. It is very often a very selfless job because it's not as if they get paid big money to do it. So Ms. Wallace, I think, is kind of coordinating. Who's coordinating this, Ms. Wallace? Dr. Edwards is coordinating, okay. And I think we have individual schools that'll be recognizing and honoring specific board members.
We will start with Geeker Elementary.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Green. I come from Geeker Elementary, and I first of all just want to say thank you so very much. We appreciate all of your support, all of your dedication, and all of your hard work. I have a special token for Vice Chair, Ms. Harrison. We know that you like sweets. And I just want to say from the Geeker family, we thank you so much just for your dedication, for your hard work, for just stopping by to read to our students, judging our talent contest, and just your encouragement. So thank you. You're welcome.
The next school is Kelly Miller, and I will be honoring Miss Board Member Ms. McDaniel in absence of Ms. Woodard. And the card reads as follows: Ms. McDaniel, thank you for your extraordinary dedication to our community and the students of Kelly Miller Elementary. We applaud your vision and the willingness to accept the responsibility to help today's students become tomorrow's leaders. Sincerely, Ms. Kathy Woodard, Principal, and the Kelly Miller faculty and staff.
And there is a special message for you from the teddy bear that you are to listen. We'll give you a hug, give to her. Thank you.
McCoy Liston School of Technology.
Mr. Cunningham is jealous of that shirt.
Good evening.
Good evening.
What?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good evening. It is much elation that I stand before all of you this morning, this evening, to say how much I appreciate you. I've been here for 7 years, and it's been an awesome ride. And I just want to say to all of you, you do a great job for everybody here in Fairfield County School District. We're proud to be products of Fairfield. And on behalf of the McCoy Liston School of Technology, the entire school, and I can say for everyone here, you are greatly, greatly appreciated. You put in many hours, and we know that. And to our special board member who comes into our building each and every morning, he drops off his grandson. I must say to you that I know without a shadow of a doubt that you have our best interests at heart. To all of you, Ms. McDaniel, You know that you're a product of Fairfield Quarter Listing too, but we thank all of you again. But we have a small token of our appreciation to you, Mr. Miller, and I wish I had something to give all of you, but you'll all be honored this evening. But again, thank you for everything. Thank you.
Fairfield Middle School.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I share the sentiments of my colleagues in expressing my sincere appreciation for all you do for the fine children of Fairfield County. Especially tonight, I pay tribute to Mr. Bobby Cunningham, who is a wonderful supporter of our school, and I'm having to make a symbolic gesture this evening, knowing that it's not quite planting season, but you'll know that near and dear to my heart are the facilities at Fairfield Middle School. So I had Mr. Boyd, one of our fabulous art teachers, commemorate what is coming as a celebration in planting a tree in his honor to duplicate the river birch tree that is right outside of the gymnasium. So I present to you tonight a drawing, a painting of the river birch tree that will be planted in your honor this spring. So we look forward to celebrating that with you.
Fairfield Magnet School for Math and Science.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to say to the board members, you all are very much appreciated. On those days when you think that nobody cares, let me be the first to say we care. We know what you do for our students, and this is a thankless job sometimes. Whenever you feel like I'm tired, don't give up, because we believe in you, and we know that you're doing an awesome job for Fairfield County and for us as administrators here, because without you supporting us, we will not be able to do what we're doing for our students. My special board member is Mr. Frick. Mr. Frick has come out to our school and he's read to our students as well. There's a special card in here from all of our students that they put a message in here for you. And there are other goodies, but we know that, we want you to know that we appreciate you and we know that you do a good job for us here in Fairfield County.
Fairfield Elementary.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Mr. Green. We want to say from Fairfield Elementary School, thank you all so much for everything that you do for us. I'm a native of Fairfield County, which our schools have come through, and I'm just so thankful for everything that you do for us at Fairfield Elementary School, and we really appreciate you for all of that. Our special board members is Paula Hartman, and in here we have some mementos from our school, different things to remember us by. We have a book that we made for you that has newsletters and pictures and take you through the year. We also, our students and staff, we want to just offer our condolences on the loss of your husband. We have something in here for you in memory of him. And so we just thank you for everything that you've done, and we ask that you please come by to see us sometime. And we want to see you at our school. So thank you very, very much.
Last but certainly not least, we have Fairfield Central High School, Gordon Odyssey, and Fairfield Career and Technology Center. The Three Musketeers.
And special recognition to our superintendent and to every one of our board members. We would like to recognize our board chair, Ms. Beth Reed. We are all familiar with the phrase, to whom much is given, much is required. Well, we would like to give you much because we as representatives of our students and staff require much of your time, much of your love, and much of your effort. So we thank you all for that. We would like to present this from all three of our schools. So hopefully you'll find some things that you can really appreciate and use.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think there's some tissues needed up here, available. I heard something about there maybe some tears. So thank you so much. I'm sure all of us would concur. It's an absolute honor to serve at this point when the district is being led by such a fearless leader, and we're moving from ordinary to extraordinary. We appreciate all that he does and all of your support as well. We'd be remiss, Ms. McDaniel, if we didn't say how we appreciate the parents of those children who won those awards, because I know that's an emphasis that we all place on success, knowing that behind a successful student is a successful family as well. So we appreciate your parents and y'all coming out tonight. It's a nice crowd, and appreciate that. Fairfield Middle School recognition is next.
And we have our Chief Laureate. It's always good to have the law enforcement here to come recognize us for some good things here. Dr. Hart is right.
As long as they didn't bring you in.
Yeah.
As long as there aren't handcuffs involved.
How are you guys doing?
How you doing today?
Board members? We don't have any warrants. Rest easy. We started a program at the police department a while back, but we really got it rolling this year, and it's called We Care. And it's a program where we focus in on some of our precious commodities in the community, who are our elderly folks. So, and of course, Corporal Goins here is in charge of that. She goes around and checks on them, and they just love her to death. But we had our first dinner for them at Christmas time. We brought them to the police department, to the women's club, and we fed them. And we had a nice crowd. And we, or Corporal Goins, invited the middle school chorus. Now, you all would have been proud of those kids. Those kids performed and made an old man cry. But they did a fantastic job. So that's why we're here tonight. We just want to recognize them, and Dr. Hart, we appreciate you, and thank you for allowing them to come. And they were the life of the party. They did it for us. But let me put on my eyes here so I can see. But this is from our mayor and town council. And they were very impressed with them too. They were there. It says, the mayor and the town council, town of Winsboro, certificate of appreciation. This is to certify that Fairfield Middle School chorus, directed by Miss Graham, is awarded this certificate for a memorable and outstanding musical performance given by the chorus at the Winsboro Public Safety Seniors Luncheon on December 18, 2013. Given in Winsboro, South Carolina, this 30th December 2013. That's when this was signed. And it's signed by the mayor, Mayor Roger Gay, town council. We appreciate it.
Anything else you want?
Yes, I want to take a point of personal privilege. Mr. I can't call nobody's name in that. The Chief Laureate here. He came to Fairfield County by way of the school district, and he was the first school resource officer that we had here in the county. So he's a trailblazer, so he made the mark. And I just want to because I served on that committee when we wrote the first grant, to bring the resource officers here, and I just want to tell him thank you, and just good to see that you're still here and you're still doing great things and involving our children. So it's very much appreciated.
Well, thank you, ma'am. This is home now. Thank you, appreciate you.
All right, thank you. Hey, Ms. Goins. Thank you for all the recognitions and presentations. Those are the highlights of the meetings, of course. We'll move on to the approval of the board minutes from December 2013. Actually, we don't, anybody find any corrections they'd like to submit? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of the board minutes, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We'll move to the superintendent's report.
Chairman Reed, members of the board, a few items I'd like to highlight. First of all, let me start with the monthly newsletter that Ms. Wallace puts together, and I continue to be even more impressed every month. And as you see, it is a little different. She has changed the format up a bit, and so she called me and asked me some questions in terms of what I thought about the format, and I said, as always, it was as impressive as always. As you look through the newsletter, you'll see some information about Fairfield Magnet School being recognized as the Palmetto's finest finalist, which is outstanding. There's some information about our STEM Early College Academy interest meeting, and also something I was going to speak about later. There's a picture of Jack Murphy on the back, who's a sixth grader at Giga Elementary School, who placed first in the Division I math academic competition at the State Beta Convention in Myrtle Beach this past year. Let's definitely so kudos to Ms. Wallace for getting out this outstanding product here. Next, I'd like to recognize Ms. Swilly, Coach Roach, and all of the staff members who helped to put the MLK breakfast together. Unfortunately, I had to present at a SCSD conference, so I was unable to be there. But I have heard nothing but rave reviews about the entire event. As a matter of fact, I was in Walmart this past, I guess that was yesterday. I was in Walmart picking up a few packages, and someone stopped me in the aisle to talk about the MLK breakfast. They said, "Man, you missed a doozy." I mean, it was absolutely outstanding. And even Lamar Richards has tried to one-up me by doing a rendition of Invictus. And so I'm going to have to find another poem now. Lamar has, he's performing it better than I ever did. So once again, we'd like to congratulate Ms. Swilly and Coach Roach and the entire staff for putting that together. Also, let me recognize Alyssa Boyd, who's also from Giga Elementary School, who's a sixth grader, and she placed in the top 8 finalists in the talent competition, also at the Beta Club Convention. And when you start thinking about these students who are placed in the Beta Club Convention, I think there are probably somewhere around 3,000 kids at that convention. I mean, so there are a lot of kids down there. So when we start placing first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, placing in the top 10, that means that we are doing a tremendous job. So let's give all the principals a round of applause for doing an excellent job. Mr. Miller, I'm going to comment, but I think you wanted to follow up with a comment.
Madam Chair, I had a chance to attend the conference, Beta Club, and I'm telling you that our children, our students perform. They're top notch. That's all I can say. Our children are top notch. And the way they behave, I'm here to tell you now, I called Mr. Green when I got back. Not trying to put anybody on Front Street, but in other districts, they were beating on doors, running around like they ain't had no, I'm saying, and our kids, they head up, walking around, well-mannered. We talking about not one student I've seen from Fairfield County. Makes me proud. Makes me real proud. I have to say that about our kids. You talking about somebody else, Fairfield County children, they're on top of it. And it make me proud just to be a board member, just to look. Sometimes it's good just to go and look and see how your students are doing, you know, when they ain't around you. Because see, I noticed this right here. I ever tell you all this right here, that my daughter told me, she said, Daddy, this teacher ain't treating me right, and this and that. And when I got in front of the teacher, she changed that story. So a lot of times the kids will fool you when they're with you, and when they get away from you. So they were away from us, from the parents and what have you. But they performed and they acted just like we expected them to act. Great. Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Miller, Dr. Bell in the back has brought to my attention that I omitted a student from McCoy listing. Charged it to the head, not to the heart, as they say. Did you forward that information to me?
I did not.
Okay, all right. Be clear. But could you just please let us know who the student was that plays for McCoy listing?
Matter of fact, we were second. Gideon was first in the NAM competition, and we were second in manual March. And we also placed seventh in the spelling bee, graded English.
Oh, wow. All right. Thank you. That's it, Jim.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
before you move, Mr. Green, when this, we had the past recognitions. I remember the middle school principal stating that she did not plan a trip or whatever for her students who passed the pass. Have that been corrected? Have those students who was part of that been given something just like the other students were?
You mean in terms of going on a trip?
I think that's what most of them did.
Yeah, several of them went on a trip. I will speak with Dr. Harden. Of course, we always get excited about recognizing students who do well. I'll tell you the sixth graders, the seventh graders generally go on a trip with the middle school, with the elementary school, since they end up taking pass in sixth grade. So, you know, for example, the students who were from McCoy Listed Elementary or Fairfield Elementary School ended up going back and participating in those trips with their elementary school, since that is when they took pass. We'll just need to work something out with our eighth graders who took it as seventh graders. We'll definitely do something.
Y'all do that, that'd be appreciated.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Green, I believe Dr. Hunter said you wanted to take her kids to France.
I remember that.
Well, since Ms. McDaniel wants you to take them someplace, shoot big, you know? Yeah, go big, yeah.
I just have to remember that she had stated that, and I don't know if we ever rectified it, because she said she didn't know the new principal.
Well, France it is, I mean, yeah, so she's
Any board members? I want to go France too.
We'll move next to the superintendent evaluation. The school board trustees held a work session on January 11th, about 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago. And during that session, we made current the evaluation on Mr. Green as the contract states and as board policy states. So we did the evaluation, and tonight in executive session, we presented that to him for his personnel file. So I am looking to board members to make a motion.
Madam Chair, in light of the information that we received about the evaluation, I would move that we extend Mr. Green's contract. I believe it would be a one-year extension to 2018.
Thank you, Mr. Frick. We have a motion.
I second that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Miller. There's a second. To restate the motion, the motion is that an amendment would be added to Mr. Green's contract to extend it 1 year for the year that has just been used, and then that would create the 4-year contract again to 2018. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor of the amendment to the superintendent's contract, please signify by raising the right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opposition? Abstention? 2. 502.
Madam Chair, I would just like the record to reflect that my decision to abstain on that has nothing to do with Mr. Green personally or his professional job, but just based on certain things I believe should be done decently and in order. So I just want that stated for the record, so there's no misunderstanding or misinterpretation of my vote.
Move to curriculum and instruction.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Green. Tonight, I bring before you policy IJOA administrative rule and IJOA policy regarding field trips. In the administrative rule, you will notice that the additions and deletions have been indicated in red. For the administrative rule, you've noticed, and I will just highlight very briefly, that an increase for chaperones will increase for students in grades 9 through 12 from 15 to 20. In addition, there were some deletions after a review of the policy. The policy itself will then reflect what is standard practice as the designee to review field trips. The district offers administrators will review field trip requests to attend the movies. At this point, all district level field trips come across my desk for approval, so that was one deletion. In addition to, as mentioned earlier by Mr. Green, the district will limit any field trips to students of the school involved unless prior approval or special circumstances have been granted. As mentioned earlier, such as the past incentive field trips for those students who have already moved on to the middle school will then get an opportunity to go back and travel with the principal and their previous elementary school if in fact it was for an incentive trip related to student performance. In addition to that, on page 2 of the administrative rule, you will see that I added, the principal will submit to the superintendent or his or her designee on the proper form as it relates to all field trip requests. And then on page 3 as well, that same statement was also indicated. On the field trip policy itself, you will notice that there is a statement that has been added for your consideration that the superintendent or his or her designee will have the discretion to approve all in-state field trips and trips to South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia. And these are the changes and recommendations that are before you tonight for first reading.
If I can just elaborate a little bit in terms of why we felt this was a prudent decision to make. You know, last board meeting, we had some conversation about the trip that we took to Charlotte with the Bow Tie Club and we coming before the board for approval. And I said that I really didn't give it thought. Currently, we have a policy that states that all out-of-state field trips come before the board. Now, in addition to overnight field trips, when we really think about that, we require the board to approve a field trip to Charlotte, which is probably an hour away. Yet we don't require the board to approve a field trip to Charleston, which is 2.5 hours, or Hilton Head, or Myrtle Beach, or somewhere else in South Carolina. So in terms of just creating some kind of barrier as it relates to crossing the state line, I don't really see where that was something that really was needed. I think the administration should be able to approve field trips within North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, because we're all talking about field trips in which they will be returning the same day. Now, if there is a trip in which they're going to, to the Virginia line per se in North Carolina, then they're not likely to return the same day. Therefore, the board still is going to approve those trips. So we still are allowing the board to approve all overnight field trips, but what we're saying is when there are day trips where students will be traveling to North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, and be returning the same day, that is something that would not need board approval, but would be approved by the administration.
Madam Chair.
Let's go ahead and get a motion and second, then we'll discuss.
Motion. Madam Chair, I move we accept first reading of the policy IJOA. IJOA field trips.
Okay. Second. Ms. McDaniel has made the motion, Ms. Hartman seconded. The superintendent's recommendation, questions or discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair, there are legal references at the bottom of the policy. And just want to make sure that, in the board's approval of this recommendation, that we, have paid attention to what's in, those legal references. And also from the attorney, is there a reason, because our policies model the School Boards Association. So is there a reason coming from them that they would want boards to approve out-of-state field trips? Being that when you cross state lines, there are certain things that may or may not need to be taken into consideration?
Not that I'm aware of.
Can we have?
That's something I can check into.
Thank you. Before we do second reading. Yeah, I'm not sure if I stay on this.
Madam Chair, I just want to make sure, because I want, Mr. Green, so you're saying that overnight trips, any overnight trip, period, has to be approved by the board? Okay, okay. So, in any trip, you're saying that trip to North Carolina, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and what else?
And in the state.
In the state. And then we're just going back and forth. Okay, that's what you asked. Okay. I want to make sure.
And probably,
That's good clarification. Thank you.
and probably what I'm talking about, Mr. Miller, is we, like I said, we took a trip to Charlotte, which is an hour away, we went to Augusta, which is probably an hour and a half away. You know, trips in which you're going to be going, you could go during the school day and be back. I think that's something that should be approved by the administration. But if they were going to Atlanta, the state, overnight, that's something the board would still approve. We're just talking about day trips in which students are going and coming back the same day.
And again, Madam Chair, Mr. Reed, it may not be that this is because of the length of the trip, but again, because of the crossing of the state line. So that's why I'm asking that we just looking at just to make sure that that's not the reason. Because it seems like there would be some rationale that board would need to have been proven in the past.
I would just like to add, Superintendent Green, once the attorneys have checked on that, if there is no legal rationale for actually crossing state line, if we could add that verbiage of same-day trip returning to that policy.
Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor of the superintendent's recommendation to accept the first reading of the policy field trips, IJOA and IJOAR, signify by raising your right hand. Looks like 7-0. Stops. We'll move to the operations and finance.
Chairman Reed, members of the board, in your package you have the financial report for 2013. I'm quite sure there are probably some questions, but I won't even try and answer. I'm probably just going to mess something up. So what I would ask the board to do, since Mr. Robinson is unable to join us today, if you could email me any questions or concerns that you have about the financial report, and I will ensure that he responds to the entire board in a timely fashion so that you can get any questions or concerns answered.
All right, thank you. Human Resources.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. For your approval this evening, present to you certified resignations and/or terminations.
Make a motion to approve certified resignation termination.
Second.
Mr. Fred has made the motion, Ms. Hartman seconded. All those in favor signify by raising of the right hand. Opposition, Abstention? 601.
Madam Chair, I would like to have it noted in the record that we're, unless there's some objections from the board, that, when recommendations come to us of certified folk, if there is any, information such as with the previous employee in the SLED report or some information that we would need to know, that information is provided to the board prior to the board voting on the, certified recommendations.
All right, next on the agenda are your certified recommendations.
Make a motion to approve certified recommendation.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Frick. Ms. McDaniel, all those in favor of the certified recommendation, signify by the raising of the right hand. 7-0, Ms. Dodson. And down to the first reading, the revision.
Next, lastly, for Human Resources, first reading of revisions to Board Policy GCOA and GCOA Administrative Rule. You have been provided with an original copy of the policy which was adopted in 2008, a copy of the recommended revisions to the existing policy. As you can see, the items noted would be to change the cycle for certified evaluations from a 3-year cycle to periodic. And that is being brought before you as a result of guidelines for entering the information into the state system. We are limited as far as what we can put in there in the system, and also limited to the number of teachers in academic areas that can serve on evaluation teams, considering that we have just one middle school, one high school, and also in reference to the number of teachers that have to serve on evaluation teams. This past July 1st, middle level certification is now required of all middle level academic teachers, and whenever we have teachers on teacher evaluation, on those evaluation teams, you have to have at least one administrator and one teacher that holds the same certification of the teacher being evaluated. And sometimes it's really difficult. I found that to be very difficult this year, especially at the middle level. So that is the rationale for that particular change. Under induction contract teachers, just changing the wording from their first school year to each induction year. The 2012-13 year, instead of having one induction year, teachers now, or the districts have an option to extend the induction year from year 1 to year 2 up to 3 years of induction, whereas in the past it was just 1 year of induction. So that just makes the wording a little bit cleaner. Under annual contract teachers, the change from an individualized assistance plan to professional growth plan. That language is just in line with the 2013 model that has been handed down by the School Boards Association and also in the ADEPT guidelines. Under continuing contract, the second sentence has been deleted, and then the changing of the semicolon to a period, and deleting that sentence has the same rationale as item number 1, changing the periodic, just changing that cycle from 3 years to a periodic cycle. On the administrative rule, the changes from the word 5 years for annual contracts to 4 years, and that is in the ADEPT guidelines. A teacher cannot be on an annual contract for more than 4 years.
Chairman Reed, if I could follow up with a few things. Most of what Ms. Saul presented is just kind of cleaning up of language in the policy. But I guess the major revision is the requirement that that all certified staff need to be evaluated every 3 years. And as you said, it becomes a very taxing exercise when you have to assemble these teams to evaluate people that are very proficient. What we want to move to is a system where the principal has the discretion of placing an individual on formal evaluation at any point in time. But quite frankly, if I have a star math teacher or star English teacher like Dr. Mason, then I would really prefer to keep her on goal-based evaluation and not do a formal evaluation. So we spend quite a bit of time formally evaluating some of our best teachers. And we do it because the policy says that we have to. I mean, I think we need to move the policy that says that you'll do it periodically, and the principal has the discretion of determining who needs to be on formal evaluation and who doesn't need to be on formal evaluation. I think that will create a much more efficient system. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, we accept the superintendent's recommendation regarding first reading of the revisions of board policy GCOA and GCOA regulation.
I second that, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. McDaniel, and second by Mr. Miller. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the superintendent's recommendation and approve the motion to approve the first reading of the motion signify by the raising of the right hand.
Great.
Looks like 7-0, Stotson. Move next to the board chair report. As I stated earlier, we had a work session on January 11th. We covered a variety of topics, and we'll be following up with those. The next work session will be on April 1st. It will be a budget work session, and we may have intermittent special call meetings if need be for moving forward with the Career Center construction. An update on to the board asked me to check out the status of the county council agreement with the SCANA, the fee in lieu of situation, and I've spoken with the attorneys on that. They're going to do some research and get back to us in a formal presentation, understanding our question, and I think at that point what we would likely want to do is deliver a statement of our position and what we think that the ordinance should be going forward. It might not have teeth, but at least will have our support and public support as well. So that conversation has taken place, and we'll get a full report from a professional at the next meeting on that. I want to let you know I followed up on that. And again, the work session will be on April the 1st to review the budget and talk about that process. The board members were provided with an inventory of the computer equipment as they had asked, as well as travel for individual board members. And that will segue to travel. The next thing's coming up, I think there's a national conference. Ms. McDaniel, you're up for that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's in DC, and hopefully the weather will be nicer than it is there right now.
It's cold right now.
It's snowing. Now, you probably couldn't fly in right now.
We're supposed to be walking.
When is that, Ms. McDaniel? It's
February 1st through the 4th, I think.
okay. Well, again, you look on the weather. After that, I think the next event conference schedule would be the board's attendance at this South Carolina School Boards Association conference in Myrtle Beach in late February. And as far as I know, I think all of us would be attending on that one. That covers my report.
Now, I'm trying to have one request under your report.
Okay.
Under the board travel, can we have that travel broken out when it's submitted to us, like how much is paid for the hotel and how much is paid for mileage and all those things for the staff as well as the board members?
For the staff or you're talking about board travel?
Both, because they're in the same format when we get them in the board docs.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, and the other thing that we had on our agenda for the work session was the review of these policies, at which point we talked about the advanced ed is going to force some of the review, and we'll be looking forward to hearing more about those policies to be updated, and Dr. Edwards talking to us about advanced ed in the future. Thank you. We'll entertain a motion to enter executive session.
Madam Chair, before we do that, can we ask on the next agenda discussion of the policy for facility usage? And also the policy regarding the students at the high school and their class rankings.
Entertain a motion to enter executive session.
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn that we move into executive session.
Go to the pictures right quick from the closet.
Second, Mr. Cunningham. All those in favor? Yes.
He did listen. I know, how we vote.
I'm early to bed myself.
Yeah.
Get early to bed, make the man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. But always remember this, ain't no business like church. Good about the name of the Lord. Thank you. I told you people up to it.
Motion to exit executive session.
Move that we exit executive session.
In favor, say aye.
Aye.
There was no action taken. However, there's a recommendation from the superintendent to approve the stipend that's enclosed for the 13-14 school year.
Madam Chair, we need to first vote on whether or not we are deciding that we are not going to have a board clerk. And so I will put a motion on the floor that we will continue to have a board clerk at least at a part-time level.
Well, since that's not on the agenda, we'll vote on the stipend and we'll consider discussion of that at the next meeting.
No, ma'am. That means we voted to have something that we have not put in place and that was not in the budget.
I will entertain a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation for the stipend.
Madam Chair, I make a motion, we accept the recommendation.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions?
So, Madam Chair, this stipend is for the superintendent's secretary to do work for the secretary, for the superintendent, or for the board?
It's right there.
Can you answer the question, please, ma'am?
It's in the board doc.
Is the work that the person will be doing for the board or for the superintendent?
Performs additional administrative and clerical duties required by the board of trustees. That's what it says in the board doc.
So was it checked whether there was a conflict of interest or doing both? That was mentioned in the work session.
That was what the research shows, that the other districts have that one. That's the role of that person.
No, I'm saying a conflict of him, her doing both as far as superintendents and.
Right. And that's because that's what the other districts do. Then there would be assumed no conflict of interest in those areas, in those other districts that were named.
So, Madam Chair, we're not making a decision based on the needs of our board, we're making a decision based on what other districts do.
We're going to vote on the recommendation.
Yeah, but I asked you a question, are we making our decision based on what other districts are doing, or are we making a decision based on the needs of Fairfield County School District Board.
So we're going to vote on the recommendation.
Okay, so
I'd like to make a consideration for some people to think about, before they vote. There's a lot of people in the area, I'm sure, that would like to stay home with their children and have a part-time person come in a few hours a day, a few hours a week to do the job as a possibility. Anyway, I'm gonna throw that out there.
Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor of the superintendent's recommendation for the administrative clerk stipend, signify by raising of the right hand. We've got 4 opposed, 3.
Madam Chair, I want the record to reflect that we made this decision arbitrarily without the position being put in place, and that this is no more than for a raise for a particular employee that could have been done without this having to be thrown down the throats of the board members.
I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
You have it, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Cunningham. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Ms. Dawson, please make sure my statements are in the minutes, please, ma'am.
We put the, through.
Huh?
Put them through, huh?
Yeah.
Doc, have a good one, man.
Well, you do the same, brother, man, you do the same.
And dear Boy Brown, good day, bro.
Hey, you got a good point up there, brother Brown.
I saw you from a distance Christmas shopping at Sam's.
Bill, you want to take that to a grandchild?
Okay, I appreciate it.
I'm not going to be able to assume that. But I sure would like to. If I take it home, I'll be ready.
I'm glad it's sweet.
Don't you?
Well, you know what? They should make sure I want to use that cake, but when I'm talking, you know, my country is that cake.
Oh, you got the costume.
That's nice. The tree in your
What age do you have?
My oldest is 8th grade, so she just turned 14. You go?
I got it older than 8.
Y'all know I done got away from salt. I pulled away from salt.
She'll turn.
Y'all know that, right?
She's in.
Well, I have to take
I'm using Miss Dash now, y'all.
But it's something special.
I'm using Miss Dash.
7th grade.
We on the same.
That's right.
All right.
I'm losing weight, y'all.
Went to basketball practice right now. We just started 8.
All right. I'm telling you, I'm losing weight. And you can get somebody to help you with that. Y'all be good now. I'm going to church, y'all. I'm going across the street.
Oh, you got a girl?
Hey, how you doing, y'all? You have a good night.
Good night.
Good night. Bro, Tony,
Here.
what's going on, man? I ain't seen you in a minute.
The travel stuff was 8, you know, so
So,
Do I need to give these to you or to,
just give it a try and see how it is.
It's
all right, man, I'll see you later. All right.
It's definitely a lot of fun.
All right.
How bad?
Good, man. All right.
Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Thank you for calling.
Hey, you do good for me. Real good for me.
Yeah, I coach this.
Good question. Start off basketball for the player, really discipline, you hear some of the stuff like that, basically coach specific, he's the right coach.
Y'all need help? You need help?
I'm gonna come back.
that's okay, so he's gonna take mine to the car, he ain't going nowhere near.
Safe travel.
I can't go to y'all go. I did who do Bobby out of this chocolate.
It just happened after the meeting had started, but I saw something that I hadn't seen in a while. I know I don't come to the meeting like I used to, but there was freely conversation between the general public and the board. And there was,
Laughter.
yeah.
That was
that
good. That was
was,
good.
that was different. Wow. That was different. But that show improvement when we get there.
You ready, huh? Yeah, I know y'all
Nice
want to
jacket,
travel,
yeah,
but it's so
yeah.
nice when you do it here.
Where my girls at?
Two just leaving basketball practice.
His girls is everywhere.
Yeah,
Let's go with Edward.
That's where it's supposed to be.
GT cheerleading, Queens playing basketball, Naya is taking piano lessons and dance at Kelly Middle School. Tours really, really beneficial.
How about you, Miss Beth, you need some help?
Gwen says it's well. How was she?
Okay.
I don't know if I had the right phone number.
Yeah, just walk out.
Oh, not sure yet.
Yeah, I'll do it right here.
They all over the place.
That boy is smart as a whip.
I don't know if y'all know.
Everybody else going for Miss Hall?
What's wrong with it? We know what's wrong with it. All the support that we pay in this district, and when our kids have issues, then we should, Miss,
Yeah, I was supposed to say, you'll give it to
we
me.
should, make sure that we put those resources, those resources in place to, help our kids that we don't.
Leave that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sure. Now we're trying to find ways to challenge his intelligence and back him up sometimes.
Well, you can't challenge his intelligence that he get here, something totally done. And you think it's cute that we sit here and everybody out there laughing, when there's so much other foolishness going on that y'all just don't even know about now. And that's what all the other board members should have done, just hide